All right, we are back. It's the Flight Podcast, man. It's the weekend. I'm feeling good. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. It's the weekend, like you said. It's Sunday. It's a football Sunday, so that always makes me happy.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Cowboys are out.
They are. Who's your team again? Because the other year you was riding with the Bucks.
It's the Chargers.
Oh,
and we're also out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Sit here and listen to you slander my team when I don't know who your team is. Every season it's a different team. Where's the consistency? Where's the loyalty?
I'm about to be Stephen A. Lipscomb in here if you don't turn it down.
Come on, man. Come on.
But no, it's while it is the weekend and it is a great weekend, it doesn't go without having a cloud over our heads as people. Of course, I don't really like to date the show, but and I don't want to say in light of recent events, it's the opposite of light. In darkness of recent events, we're still having to deal with police brutality as it relates to Black people. This is something that honestly, I want to say it bothers me, but I feel like there's something that doesn't really capture what I really feel, because today's topic is not only do Black people have to worry about police and injustice, we also have to be watchful of our own people. And originally when we thought about this topic, we were really just talking about genocide,
right?
But now it's a little deeper than that. Agreed.
And I mean, to that point, what Dash is kind of speaking on is the recent events that took place with Tyre Nichols. And there's a video circulating around that I have not personally watched. I do not want to watch it. I'm at the point in life where watching trauma is just too much for me. And so I just won't watch it. But I've been reading up on it and following the story, and anybody who has my book, I have a whole chapter dedicated to police brutality and calling out certain things and certain names and certain aspects. And so topics like this is very near and dear to my heart, but it's also very sensitive. And so because of that, I don't want to see the content, but I have been following the story. And for those that don't know, Tyre was a 29-year-old Black man who was brutally murdered by the Memphis Police Department. And not only was he brutally murdered by 5 police officers, these police officers happen to be Black. And so that changes or shifts the narrative in a sense, because you have people, I've been seeing it all, like, I'm just going to be real. And it may make me a little emotional because this is something that is very important to me. But I've been seeing a lot of people say things like, oh, where's all the Black Lives Matter people now that it's Black cops killing your people and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you have to understand that policing is a system.
Yep.
And it's a system that was created and designed by people who literally hated us.
Yep.
Let's be clear. And now the police force, they've tried to transition. I mean, let's be real. If we get to the real history of policing, they had runaway slave catchers who walked around with a badge very similar to modern police. And at some point in time and at some point in history, they transitioned into full-fledged police officers who protect, quote unquote, and serve the community or the country. Now, mind you, a system was already in place at this time.
Yep.
So when you made your transition, you kept portions of this system. So it's still operating to oppress, right? And so now you have people who may be brown or Black joining the force. Now they are subscribing to a system. So you're going to be teaching those same systematic practices to whoever becomes a cop, whether they are brown, Black, blue, green, red, yellow, purple.
Right.
Doesn't matter. The system was already created this way. So when I'm seeing things like that on social media, I'm mindful that the police operate within a system.
Yep.
And most people are not mindful of that. And so because I'm mindful of that, seeing behaviors like the ones that took place on January the 7th is inexcusable. Yeah. Even if it was a white person doing it, it's inexcusable. because your job is to protect and serve, not to target. Now, reading a couple of articles, it was said that they still have no idea why Tyre was actually pulled over. So again, he was targeted by somebody who looked like him. And those people were likely taught to target, taught to stereotype, taught to look for certain things. Let's be clear. People try to pretend like certain things are not taught, but they are.
They absolutely are.
And I saw TikTok probably a couple of weeks ago, where a lady was stopped by a police officer. And I think you sent it to me. And apparently this police officer had been targeting Black and brown people in that community and had written over 240 tickets within 6 months for brown and Black people.
Yep. More than anybody else the whole year.
Anybody in the entire police force for that year. That's called profiling. That's racial profiling.
Yep.
Right? People pretend like these things are not taught or allowed to take place in police forces. That's why you see situations like Breonna Taylor and Eric Garner and Alton Sterling and Tatiana Jefferson and Botham. That's why you see stuff like this. Philando Castile. I mean, I got a book that literally talks about this stuff.
Yep.
We have to be cautious of our own kind in situations like this because they are subscribing to a system that is not for us. Now, not to say that every police officer, even white ones, are subscribing to this type of systematic oppression, because I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say all cops are bad, all cops are racist. I don't believe that.
Right.
But I do believe that some of them allow practices to happen without doing anything that makes you just as guilty. For example, if you're out on a call and your partner, who is white or Black, is being racist towards a particular ethnic group, it is your job as a pillar of this community to protect and serve the person that you're stopping if you know that your partner is not doing something appropriately. I've seen it happen on camera where an officer, a sergeant, was getting into it with a patron, and one of the regular officers had to get on him, and he shoved her. But she was taking up for the civilian because the sergeant was out of line. He was in the wrong. He was ultimately, from what I remember, he was ultimately let go. But it's like, if we don't stand up for our community, if we don't stand up for the people, nobody is safe.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one thing I had to take notice of. And like you were saying, that's right. This learned behavior is passed down. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily in black and white in the books that says you must pull over 3 Black people for every 4 people you pull over. But it is incentivized. You know, I'm sure it's in a meeting where, think about redlining. We all know that certain areas, certain zip codes are in a percentage way of it as a more percentage of Black people or minorities in general. Mm-hmm. So then you'll start seeing cops more in those areas.
Absolutely.
During peak times, 5 p.m., everybody trying to get home. They know they're going to catch somebody going a little fast. Mm-hmm. Early in the morning, they're late for work, trying to go a little fast, and then they're getting them right there. But this is one of the things, like you were saying, that the system is broken and it keeps going, because I remember seeing a video recently too, where a lot of people are having like mental breakdowns because of capitalism. Mm-hmm. And it's hard. And I can just imagine right now, like you're saying, say 2 officers, 2 different races in 1 cop car. And then something is about to go down that's morally wrong. Right.
Right.
The minority is put in a situation where, do I stand up and do I say something? Mm-hmm. Because I could lose my job. Yep.
Oh, and that's a key point right there. And I'm actually glad you said that. So a lot of people don't speak up because ultimately they are protected of their well-being, which I understand. But at some point, we have to stand up, because if everybody has that mindset, nothing changes. I had to have that conversation with myself, even with writing my book, because I already knew that some people wouldn't take kind to my content, but it serves a purpose. And so I had to think, okay, what matters to you the most? What's more important? I plan to have children one day. Their future is important to me, and the way the society is operating. I'm not interested in having a child.
Right.
But if I know that I'm out here doing things to bring about a change, I'm out here saying things and behaving in a certain way so that I can make a change, then I feel more comfortable bringing a person into this world. But again, I get well-being. I get that people don't want to lose their jobs. They don't want to lose certain connections. I get it. But when you allow things to happen, you are a part of the problem. It's like if you saw a child being abused right in front of you, somebody beating the hell out of a kid. Do you say something, or do you just simply watch it and then go home and tell people how you saw this horrible?
Right.
Because that's what happens. People will be like, oh, I saw something horrible happen. It's like, well, what did you do to intervene? What did you do?
Right.
Did you just pull your phone out? Oh, let me show you this video of this lady getting beat up by this man. It's like, well, did you intervene, or did you just record? Like, I don't understand.
The system is so broken, it's hard to choose, because now, let's say, think of this, and I'll go back to the main point, but somebody in a car accident, bad car accident, people are driving by and they see the accident happen. Someone's going to get out of their car, rush to the car that's been crashed, and try to help the person in the car.
Right.
But then if they help this person and the person lives, there's a chance that person can sue them.
Yes, I do know very well about that.
This whole system is rigged against good people, and it's rigged against people who believe in life, or who believe in just doing good things for people. And so if you're talking about watching something go down like a domestic violence situation, it's tough. And I hate to say that it's tough, because if you do intervene, there's a chance it could escalate, and then somebody pulls a gun, or it's hard.
And I feel that, see, when I say intervene, I don't necessarily mean like hop in the fight. Call for help. Call the police. I mean, standing there and filming and doing nothing, like, that's ridiculous. Keep walking, for that matter. If you're just going to stand and film, call for help.
Yeah.
If you see somebody in trouble, call for help.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody's choking, I might not do CPR or do the Heimlich maneuver because I don't want to get sued, but I know I can call the ambulance and they can come do their job.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not, listen, guys, I'm not telling y'all to jump into domestic disputes.
Oh, please don't.
Please do not do that. What I'm saying is, if you know that you can help in a safe manner,
yeah, for sure,
please help. You know what I mean? If you see a kid getting kidnapped, you're just going to watch the kid get taken, or you going to call for help? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's stuff like that. You see somebody get hit by a car, like a pedestrian. Are you just going to stand there and watch them bleed out? Or are you going to call the ambulance?
And it's crazy because now, you know, we have that, of course, that's non-authority versus non-authority. But here we are again talking about, you know, people who are supposed to be protected people. These are the people who are supposed to be called whenever things are going wrong. And they're the ones committing the heinous acts. And it's pathetic, honestly. Being a person that's waking up in the morning, putting your clothes on, what are you thinking when you walk out the door? This is the day that I'm going to take someone's life. You know what I mean? Like, if you have the authority to make someone stop doing what they're doing, and these people are supposed to trust you, it's a hard world that we live in, and we have to accept the fact that we might not make it home that day if we get pulled over.
Facts.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that sucks, because that's, as a black person in general, that is a daily thought. And I hate to say it, but I even have that thought sometimes. It's like, I'll get in the car and I'll think, man, I pray that I don't get pulled over, because you never know. It could be something as simple as a traffic stop, Sandra Bland, and you be dead. You know what I mean? Like, Philando Castile, like, these were traffic stops. They weren't doing anything, you know, out here just crazy. It's like you got pulled over by the police and then you was dead.
Yep. And I could tell, like, I'm just thinking of it now. If I got pulled over, of course, you know, in the height of the police brutality against black people from white people, you get pulled over by a black cop, it's like a little bit of hope. You're just like, oh, thank God. Okay. I'm all right. You know, he's just going to tell me what I did wrong. No, now you can't even say that.
Yeah, because I used to be like, well, at least I ain't going to get shot.
Yeah.
At least I'll live. I probably get a ticket, but I'm going to be alive. But now you can't even say that. Like, there was a period in my life where I wasn't calling the police. Like, if you have my book, you have the poem that I wrote. I wrote a poem, and I can't remember what year, but it's in the book, and it's like literally like the first thing in the book. And I wrote in there, it's called Black in America. And I remember writing in this poem how I was afraid to call the police because I'm Black in America. Because I may call, but I may be the one dead.
Yep.
Even though I'm calling for the help.
Yep.
I may be the one in the end who doesn't walk away from this situation. So it's like, well, I can't even call you in serious moments because you might kill me. You might think I'm the problem. You don't even find out what the problem is. Like Tatiana Jefferson, wellness check turned into a deadly, you know what I mean? A deadly thing. It's like, that wasn't in her plan. She's in there playing the game with her nephew. That wasn't a part of the plan. Some person is outside my house. Of course I'm going to get my gun.
Right.
I have the right to protect myself in my house. But then I still die in my house.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't even run. You can't play video games. You can't stop for cigarettes. You can't sell CDs.
You can't be asleep.
You can't be in Walmart. You can't be asleep. You feel me? Like, you can't go to the grocery store. You can't go to the nightclubs. You can't. Listen, we get targeted in so many ways, man. It's ridiculous. The psychological damage that does to us. Being on edge, always being anxious, always feeling like somebody may be out here trying to kill us. That in itself is exhausting. So imagine what it feels like to be Black in America. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing stories like Tyre Nichols. I'm tired of hearing stories like Tatiana Jefferson and Breonna Taylor and Tamir Rice. I'm tired of y'all killing kids, killing women, killing men. What was his name? It was another guy. I think his last name was McCade, but he was a part of the LGBTQ. I'm tired. I'm a part of the community. It don't matter what aspect. I'm a woman. Women out here getting killed. I'm Black. Black women out here getting killed. I'm gay. Gay people out here. It's like, bro, there's 1,000 targets on my back.
Yeah.
Now I have to be careful and mindful of how I work and how I move and what I say and what I do so that I don't die.
We talk about community a lot. And this has got me thinking, like, I would love to know the number of Black cops that killed white people in their communities. Like, think of like Highland Park or Highland Village. How many Black cops have killed white people in Highland Village? I'm willing to bet everything I own and will possibly own that is zero. Less than zero. Because it just doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
So, hey, man, till next time, it's the Flight Podcast. I'm Dash in Dallas.
This is T, me see me.
And we just going to holler at you next time.
We out.